Welcome to this explainer. Look, I'm coming to you today not just as your host, but as a professional trader. And honestly, we're about to have a bit of a tough love intervention. If you're tuning into this, you're probably putting in the hours, right? You're studying the charts, you're backtesting all your strategies, and yet you're still really struggling in the markets. So why is that? Well, today we're going to completely unpack the exact hidden mechanism that's actually holding you back.
Listen to this carefully. Your current trading results are a direct reflection of your subconscious beliefs, not your technical analysis. If you consistently struggle with entry hesitation or cutting winners short, your brain is actively filtering out profitable chart data to protect your old mental programming. I want to completely shatter the illusion right here, right now, that you just need to find a better trading strategy or, tweak your indicators one more time. The problem absolutely isn't your system. The problem is your internal filter.
Section 1. The subconscious trading filter. Okay, let's dive into this, because there's a massive, often invisible conflict between knowing your technical analysis and actually functioning objectively in the live market.
You see, most of us make this huge mistake of assuming that once we logically understand something, that insight just magically becomes a functional part of who we are. But actually, understanding a concept is really only the very first step. I mean, you can spend thousands of dollars on technical systems trying to figure out what's going to happen next. But what if you've recently learned that to be successful, you actually have to think in probabilities? That means accepting you don't need to know what happens next. Boom! You now have a direct conflict. Your new logical understanding is completely battling an old, deeply ingrained, sabotaging belief that absolutely demands certainty. And guess which one usually wins when real money is on the line? The old belief, every single time.
Section 2. How beliefs are formed. To fix this core problem, we have to kind of deconstruct the mind a bit. We need to look at the origins of a belief and understand what it is we're actually fighting against when we sit down at the trading desk. Let's move to and see how this builds. Picture a newborn baby. At the very beginning, memories exist just purely as sensory information, what the infant sees, hears, smells, or feels. This is pure memory. Then, as the child grows up a bit, they're taught a symbol system, language. When a child links that pure sensory memory to words, they form a concept, like connecting a warm feeling of being nurtured with the words, "life is wonderful." Finally, when positive or negative emotional energy gets attached to that concept, it transforms into a belief. It literally goes from a meaningless abstract phrase to a highly energized absolute truth about reality.
So a belief isn't just some passing thought. A belief is essentially structured energy. It's a rigid concept about how the world works, structured by language and heavily energized by our life experiences. These beliefs actively dictate your reality. And what's truly kind of terrifying is that a lot of the beliefs causing you the absolute most difficulty in your trading right now, they were acquired from other people, totally without your conscious consent, when you were just way too young to realize the negative implications of what you were absorbing.
Section 3. 4 functions of beliefs. Once a belief is born into existence, it functions in a very specific, mechanical, undeniable way. Just like your eyes are literally designed to see, or your teeth are designed to chew, your beliefs have designated jobs they absolutely must perform.
So, I want to pose this direct question to you. What exactly does a belief do? Think about it. If I asked you what your nose does, you'd answer me in a second. But since beliefs are the most critical component impacting the quality of our lives, and especially our trading accounts, it's a massive irony that they're almost always the least thought about and least understood part of our anatomy.
So here are the 4 distinct functions of every single belief you hold in your head. 1. They manage your perception and interpretation of environmental information. 2. They create your expectations, which, if you think about it, are really just beliefs projected into the future. 3. They dictate your outward behavior and the physical decisions you make. And 4, they shape exactly how you feel about the results of your actions. Seriously, every piece of data you see on a trading chart and every single time you click buy or sell, those actions are being entirely dictated by these 4 sequential steps.
Section 4. The free money experiment. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how these functions operate in the real world. Let's look at a famous practical joke from a 1987 TV show called Gotcha Chicago.
So the TV station gave a man a literal briefcase full of cash and instructed him to just stand on the sidewalk along Michigan Avenue. Now, for context, this is a very busy, very wealthy area of the city, lined with exclusive boutiques. He just stood there holding a simple sign that read, "Free money, today only." His instructions were simple. Give money to anyone who simply asks for it.
Imagine the sheer absurdity of this scene. A man with pockets stuffed full of cash, desperately trying to give it away on a crowded street full of people who basically dedicate the vast majority of their waking lives to the pursuit of money. And what happened? Out of all the people who walked by and read the sign, almost everyone completely ignored him. The guy eventually grew incredibly frustrated, literally crying out, "Please take my money, I can't give it away fast enough." Still, people actively altered their paths, walking completely out of their way just to avoid him. It's wild.
So why did the average pedestrian just ignore him? The environment was offering an experience anyone would love, free cash, no strings attached. But the average person holds a deeply energized belief that free money just doesn't exist. So their brain instantly reconciled that contradiction by deciding, well, the man must be crazy or dangerous, which results in the behavior of avoiding him. Conversely, the only person who did stop was a panhandler who asked for a quarter for a bus transfer. The panhandler operates under the belief that free money actually does exist. The exact same environmental data, the man and the sign, was filtered completely differently based on their conflicting internal beliefs. So the crucial point is the emotional outcome. The pedestrian felt a sense of relief for successfully dodging a potentially dangerous, crazy person. The panhandler felt a sense of satisfaction for getting his quarter. Both of their emotional states completely, 100%, validated their respective beliefs. Yet, from the perspective of what the environment was actually offering, the pedestrians completely missed the reality of the situation. Their beliefs literally blinded them to the opportunity sitting right in front of their faces. Does that sound at all familiar to your trading? Section 5. Beliefs versus the truth. This brings us to our final philosophical reframing. What actually is the truth, and how exactly does this translate to fixing your broken trading results?
I really want to challenge you with this question. If our beliefs naturally impose limitations on our awareness, literally forcing us to only perceive information that is consistent with what we already believe, then how do we ever know what the actual truth is? The market environment can express itself in an infinite combination of ways. Therefore, our beliefs are merely limited statements about reality, not definitive ones.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the crucial distinction between absolute truth and useful truth. Look, if our beliefs were an absolute truth, like a 100% accurate reflection of physical reality, then our expectations would always be fulfilled and we'd just be in a perpetual state of satisfaction. But obviously we aren't. So instead, we have to measure our beliefs by a useful truth. The relative degree of truth inherent in our beliefs can really only be measured by how effectively they actually help us accomplish our goals at any given moment.
And here is where that professional tough love comes right back into play. Take a hard look at your trading. If you find yourself in a state of dissatisfaction, disappointment, frustration, confusion, or despair relative to the market, it means one incredibly simple thing. The beliefs you are operating from do not work. They're not useful. The market environment is just pure data. It's offering absolutely zero resistance. The only resistance, the only counteracting force that's diminishing your outcome, is your own mind fighting against the reality of the market. Let me leave you with this final provocative thought to wrap up our explainer today. The truth is a function of whatever works in relation to what we are trying to accomplish at any given moment. If your core goal is to be a consistently profitable trader and your current mindset just generates hesitation, fear, and loss, then your current trading truths are useless. So I have to ask you, which of your deeply held beliefs about the market are you finally willing to discard so you can actually start seeing the opportunities right in front of you?